Well, Microsoft just dropped the news. Skype is shutting down on May 5th, 2025. The app that once made video calls easy and brought everyone together is getting replaced with Microsoft Teams. If you've been using Skype for years, this probably feels like the end of your favorite. It had a good run, but now it's being left behind. There was a time when Skype was everyone's favorite app for talking to family, friends, and even coworkers. It made long-distance calls feel personal, and business relied on it for meetings. It was everywhere, from casual chats to important interviews. But over the years, things started to slip for Skype. How did an app that was once the first choice for online calls end up on its way out? What went wrong? What must have led to the fall of Skype? And also, who's even using Skype nowadays? I don't think I've even looked at Skype in like 10 plus years. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. This is the rise and fall of Skype. Skype used to be one of the biggest names on the social media lists, making it easy for people to stay in touch no matter where they lived. Skype first showed up in 2003 and is set to shut down in 2025. Which really shows how fast technology can fade and how tough it is to stay ahead when there's always something new around the corner. Back in the early 2000s, the internet was opening up a ton of new possibilities, and peer-to-peer technology was a huge part of that. Swedish businessman Niklas Zennström and Danish entrepreneur Janus Friis had already worked together on Kazaa, a file-sharing service that was pretty well known at the time. They figured they could take the same type of system and use it to make phone calls over the internet. That idea turned into Skype in 2003. A group of Estonian developers, Hati Heinla, Preet Kesasalu, Jean Tallinn, and Toivo Anus, I am so sorry because I know I butchered some of those, took that idea and made it real. Their skills with PTP networks helped them build a system where people could talk without using regular phone lines. I remember making those calls with the phones and the spirally cord. Yeah, how far we've come. Skype changed that completely, letting people talk to friends and family across different countries without spending a fortune. Back when international calls were expensive, the invention of Skype sounded like a breakthrough. The name Skype comes from the phrase Sky peer-to-peer. At first, it was called Skyper, but they had trouble finding an available domain name, so they dropped the last letter. That left them with Skype, which fit their goal of connecting people across the sky of the internet using peer-to-peer technology. Skype released its first public beta on August 29, 2003. It took off quickly because it was easy to use and let people make free voice calls no matter where they were. Unlike other VoIP services at the time, Skype's peer-to-peer setup made call quality better and connections more reliable, which helped it stand out from competitors. After launching, Skype grew at an insane pace. In just a year, more than 50 million people had downloaded it, showing that a ton of users wanted a cheaper and easier way to talk to each other. Remember when calling abroad meant choosing between talking for 5 minutes or paying rent? Or how about when you can only make calls after 9 p.m., sometimes 7 p.m.? Again, how far we've come. Skype changed that by letting people talk for free. And for those who needed to call regular phones, the Skype Out service had much lower rates than phone companies. Seeing how fast Skype was growing, eBay bought it September 2005 for about $2.6 billion. They planned to use it so buyers and sellers could talk directly on their site, but things didn't work out the way they hoped. In 2009, they decided to sell most of it to a group of investors, including Silver Lake Partners and Andreessen Horowitz, valuing Skype at $2.75 billion. Even with all the ownership changes, Skype kept getting better. In 2006, it added video calls, so people could talk face-to-face no matter where they were. This made Skype even more popular for internet calls, and by 2010, it had over 660 million registered users, with around 124 million using it every month. Big tech companies saw how well Skype was doing. In May 2011, Microsoft bought it for $8.5 billion, making it their biggest purchase at the time. They plan to add Skype to Windows, Office, and Xbox. This was their way of strengthening their place in online communication and competing with Apple's FaceTime and Google Hangouts. Once Microsoft took over, Skype started changing. In 2013, it fully replaced Windows Live Messenger, putting all Microsoft's messaging services under one name. And honestly, who didn't see that coming? They also introduced Skype for Business, which was made for companies and worked smoothly with Microsoft Office tools. Skype kept rolling out new features, making it great for both work and personal use. It added instant messaging, file sharing, and screen sharing. Since it worked on Windows, Mac OS, Linux, iOS, and Android, people on different devices could stay connected, helping Skype grow even more. Skype was everywhere for a while, but started losing its place in the late 2010s. A mix of problems inside the company and tough competition from other services made it harder to keep up. One serious issue was getting Skype to fit into Microsoft's system. The way it was originally built made it tricky to expand and work smoothly with Microsoft's cloud services. It had done the job before, but switching everything over wasn't simple. In 2012, Microsoft changed Skype's setup, moving it to a centralized system using Microsoft-run supernodes. Then, in 2017, they fully moved it to Microsoft's Azure cloud. These updates were supposed to make Skype more stable and connect better with Microsoft products, but did they really help? A lot of users felt the changes took away some of what had made Skype special in the first place. Meanwhile, new messaging apps were taking over. WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and WeChat made it easy for people to chat and make calls without needing extra software. These apps were built for mobile users, while Skype, with its heavier setup and focus on desktops, started feeling outdated in a space that was moving towards mobile. When COVID-19 started in 2020, people definitely needed better ways to stay in touch, and video calls became more important than ever. Apps like Zoom and Microsoft Teams became popular because they were easy to use and had features that worked well for both work and personal calls. Zoom quickly became the top choice for video meetings, pushing Skype aside, even though Skype had been around much longer. Microsoft Teams also grew fast, especially for businesses since it worked well with other Microsoft programs. Even though Microsoft owned Skype, they focused more on Teams and made it their main tool for business communication. One big reason Skype lost users was a redesign that people didn't like. In 2017, Microsoft gave Skype a new look with flashy features similar to Snapchat, including highlights which worked like Instagram stories. People weren't happy with the update because it made Skype more complicated instead of keeping it simple for video and voice calls. Microsoft later removed some of the changes, but at that point, many people had already moved on to other platforms. Skype also had a lot of issues with reliability. Calls would drop, the audio would cut in and out, and video would lag. People got frustrated, especially when other options like Zoom and Google Meet were running more smoothly. A lot of businesses and professionals who once relied on Skype started moving to services that worked better. By the early 2020s, Skype had lost a huge number of users. It still had millions, but it wasn't the favorite choice anymore. Microsoft was clearly more focused on Teams, which had better tools for group working, stronger security, and an easier connection with Microsoft 365. And Skype, which once changed the internet communication online, was now just trying to stay useful. Then, by February this year, Microsoft finally pulled the plug, saying Skype would shut down on May 5th, 2025, and that Teams would take its place. After 2 decades, that was it. But was anyone really surprised? Skype had said it was about making things simpler and keeping all their communication tools in one place, but most people have already moved on anyway. It's just another example of how fast tech evolves. Skype used to be everywhere. You probably used it yourself at some point, but it couldn't keep up. And now it's just another name people will look back on and say, oh yeah, I remember that app. Skype rose so quick to popularity, but as it's always said, the higher the rise, the harder the fall.